time with Tutor Ayo, their enthusiastic tutor. Today's tutorial is going to be a continuation of the course POL215, and today we'll be looking at, we'll be discussing some great African political thinkers that their work and effort has made a lot of difference in the history of politics. With this being said, let's hop straight into it. So we have POL215, and we are taking our bearing from Frantz Fanon. Frantz Fanon. Okay. Frantz Fanon was born in the French colony of Martinique. All right, Martinique. Okay, on July 20th, 1925. Born in the French colony. Okay, French colony of Martinique. Okay, on July 20, okay, 1925. Now, he was inspired to write an essay for the desalination of blacks. Okay, this alienation of blacks, meaning that blacks should not be treated as inferior. Blacks should not be alienated from the society. All right, he was inspired to write an essay, all right, an essay about this alienation, about an essay on this alienation of blacks. Okay, this piece of writing that would eventually, all right, become a masterpiece. Now, he wrote this essay in 1932. Okay, France here is an activist, and he did so much. We are talking about Africans now, not just, we've been talking about the Westerners all this while, talking about the likes of John Locke, the Marx, all right, Socrates, Aristotle. Enough of saying things about them. So basically, these are African giants, all right, that their work and effort has paved way for series of development in the political sphere, all right, and starting with is Frantz Fanon. Okay, and as you can see, he was born in the French colony in 1925, and Fanon wrote an essay about the disalienation of blacks in 1932 that eventually became a masterpiece. He accepted a position as a chief of service for the psychiatric ward of Builder Johnville Hospital in Algeria. So he once worked as a psychiatrist, okay, chief of staff. As he accepted actually to work as a, it is actually written in French, that's chef de service, chef de service, meaning chief of staff, okay, for the psychiatric ward of that's now that's an I, sorry, psychiatric in the hospital Builder Joinville. Builder Joinville. Okay? Builder, okay, it's actually together. Builder Joinville. So he worked, he's a psychiatrist. Okay? He's a psychiatrist in an hospital in Algeria. So in Algeria, an hospital in Algeria. Now, the following year, in 1954, marked the eruption of the Algerian War of Independence against France. All right, this prompts us to one thing, that Algeria had dominating forces who are France, all right, who are the French, okay, and on the following year, in 1954, there erupted the Algerian War of Independence. The Algerian War of Independence. 1954, okay, experience or witness or mark the eruption of Algerian War. Algerian War. This war was for independence. War for independence. Okay? Against France. All right. Now, Pharaoh devoted himself, like I said earlier, he was an activist. Therefore, he devoted himself any way he could be of help, he rendered. Okay, he devoted 100% of his service, all right, to Algerian independence. Pharaoh devoted himself to the Algerian independence. Algeria independence. His expertise, his strength, his time, everything invested in this struggle for independence. So, during this time, he was not actually in Algeria. He was in Tunisia. All right? But there in Tunisia, he trained nurses. There was a war. Definitely, there would be people that would be injured. So, one way he assisted so much was he trained a lot of nurses. All right? He trained a lot of nurses for the Front de Liberation Nationale. That was the FLN. Front de Liberation Nationale. That is the FLN. Okay? Front de Liberation. Front de Liberation. Okay? Liberation. I mean to write. Liberation. All right? Front de Liberation Nationale. All right? He trained a lot of nurses for this course. All right? This is the time, the era of the independence struggle in Algeria. Now, in 1959, Pharaoh published series of essays, the like of De la Révolution Algérienne. All right, De la Révolution Algérienne, the year of the Algerian Revolution. All right, these are some of the articles, series of articles, essays, I mean to say, he published. Okay, basically, like I said earlier, he was an activist, and a lot of his work, a lot of his essays were about Algerian liberation from colonial authority, from colonial rule. Unfortunately, he died. All right. Unfortunately, he was in Ghana that Fanon was diagnosed with leukemia, a disease that would be the cause of his death. Okay. Despite his rapidly falling health, Fanon spent 10 months of his last year of life writing books for which would most be remembered. Okay? He speaks French and everything. So most of his books are in French. But he devoted his work, okay, a lot of his work to the liberation of Algeria. So he was Let me erase the board. Miss Regina, are you on the stream? And which other person is on the stream? Please, if you are in class, please do well to say hello or something so we can acknowledge your presence. Okay? He was diagnosed okay, Shajina, you are here. That's good. Who is this person calling me by this time? Sorry about that. So he was diagnosed of leukemia in Ghana. Okay. And that eventually claimed his life. Unfortunately, diagnosed of all right, he was diagnosed of leukemia. And leukemia simply talks about the cancer of the blood. All right, cancer of the blood, the body's blood. It's very serious cancer. All right, leukemia is a cancer. Okay, it says it's a cancer of the blood forming, all right, blood forming tissues that include bone marrows and the lymphatic system. So it's a cancer, and this cancer eventually claimed his life. But even at that, while his health was depleting very fast, he spent the 10 months of his life writing books, all right, that has proved valuable and has stand the test of time. All right, he died eventually on December 6. Six, 1961. Okay. Now, let's quickly look at his thoughts on violence. Now, he's an addict supporter of what we call decolonization. You know, all his work and effort was centered on the liberation of Algeria from the French. So he is very particular about decolonization. Decolonization. Okay? That's his thought on violence, which sets out the change, all right, change the order of the world is obviously a program of complete disorder. All right, the transition here which we are talking about is that during this time during this period, the French, all right, just like the case of Nigeria and to Africans generally, all right, their colonizers were obviously taking advantage, all right, of them, and the whole thing was just something we don't want to remember because a lot of lives were lost, all right. Humans were treated as nothing better than an animal, all right. So this time and era was so much devastating on Africa, right? And he said that the world then was so much in disorder as a result of colonization. And he said that to achieve this until decentralization is achieved, that there cannot be orderliness. And to achieve this is not a magical practice, all right? But it is an historical process. Historical is something that has its imprint on the time. Okay. So he maintained through violence and repression. All right. It says that this decentralization cannot come by just saying things merely. It comes through violence. It justified violence, the use of violence, to achieve what we call this decolonization. All right. Fanon strongly emphasized that colonial rule is the bringer of violence into homes and mind of natives. So violence is what can repel it. The colonization, violence is the key. According to him, he said that the material said Fanon emphasizes that colonial rule itself is the bringer all right, emphasizes, all right, that colonial rule is the bringer of violence. Violence into the home, and minds of the natives. Okay? Is the bringer of violence into the homes and minds of the native. Fanon even asserts that violence is the natural state of colonial rule. Can you imagine? He says violence is the natural state. Fanon, all right, Fanon is of the opinion that violence is the natural state of colonial rule. Okay, that's what he believes in. For the colonial subjects to be free, for the colonial subjects, all right, to free themselves from colonialism through violence can be cathartic. Now we have that cathartic, all right. Freedom from colonialism for the colonizers freedom from colonial oppression, all right, from colonial oppression through violence can be a cathartic okay, that's a T, not a cathartic experience. Now this cathartic here simply means that an opportunity to air your feeling, opportunity to air your opinion. So what he's saying here is that the only way that the colonized, are we together? The only way that the colonized, the colonial subjects can express themselves, how they feel about being colonized, is only through violence. All right? Take it by force as it is suffered by force. Okay? Aggression and force. So we have that as that. So now Fanon believes that violence, according to Fanon, has varied effect on colonial subjects. Okay? Now, he even went ahead by saying that violence can rectify mental health problem. In the preference, all right, violence can rectify mental health problems in the preface to Wretched of the Earth, meaning that the only viable option, for the colonial subjects was nothing more, less violence. All right? And as we said earlier, that there was a war, all right? Revolutionary war erupted. Now let's talk about what Fanon sees about national liberation struggle. All right. Now Fanon joined Algeria national liberation struggle and became a leader in the struggle against racism and national liberation. In his speech to the Congress of Black African Writers in 1959, it shows that to achieve national liberation, revolutionaries must start to recreate the national culture that colonialism has systematically destroyed. The speech in his book, Wretched of the Earth. his book Wretched of the Earth, he made it clear, that was in 1959, when he wrote that speech to the Congress of Black African Writers, that to achieve national liberation, all right, revolutionaries like him must start to recreate what we call national culture. And this national culture is what can help begin to pack the shambles, all right, begin to pack everything together that has been broken by the colonial masters, all right. Fanon describes colonialism as systematically destroying nations, the destroyer of nations systematically, right? He defines colonialism as that. So in summary, a powerful form of racism is instilled into thinking of the victims as well as oppressors. The movement for national liberation turns this around, all right? So as a result of colonization, indirectly, racism and oppression has been instilled in the thinking faculty, all right, of the people. And the only way this can be changed or turned around is by preaching national liberation. All right, this is the only way that things like racism, all right, and racism and oppressing others can be turned around. So I think we are very close to concluding with the material. I think out of 280 pages, this course, African Thinkers, is about 100 and, if I'm not mistaken, 210 or so. So I think with one more class, or maximum 2 classes, we should be done. All right. I think we are in volume 9 now. It's a very long series. I think the highest volume I've ever done this semester is volume 7 or 8. But we're already in volume 9 and we might still have 2 more classes. But I'll see how we can have it in just one more class next week. And as soon as we are done, we take another. So I have to definitely adjust the timetable, because as soon as we are done, I have to change the timetable to some other course. So thank you very much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorials. Please, let's do well to submit our notes to the appropriate quarters. And if you are here to take advantage of the private class, do well to reach out to me today so it can be added. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorials. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.